Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Shadowrun Hong Kong. Now, I have some good news and some bad news, guys. First, the bad news. I've had to re-record this episode. The episode that I previously recorded, it had corrupted sound files, and it sounded awful. I don't know what exactly happened, but part of me was going to go ahead and publish it, but I didn't think that was fair to you guys. It wasn't up to the channel standards. So I figured, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to go ahead and re-record it and go from there. Now, the good news is the fight is very fun. It's actually relatively easy compared to the fights that I've seen in Dragonfall and Shadowrun Returns. But I think I've got the good ending, guys. I got an achievement called Good Fortune, and you guys will see how I got it here in one sec. Now, here is the Fortune engine. This is obviously the portal to a hellish dimension that we have to go before we can actually get here. So, enough talking, let's get to it. Welcome to our domain, meat. Now, here's Quinn Yah in her final form, which is very similar to her original form. She just has more phalanges. And you see we have two large fanged behemoths here, or guard dogs, and a gibbering nightmare up there. Now, if you look at Quinn Yah here, she's healed by her servitors, so no matter how much damage we do to her, she'll heal at the beginning of each turn. So our first objective is to kill these guys as quickly as possible. So first up, let's get Gobbet to cast Haste on Shan. I'm going to try and do this the exact way I did the first time. And I'm going to have Gobbet hide behind these teeth. Everyone needs to find a nice shady spot. And I'm going to send Shan over here to take on this fanged behemoth. First off, though, let's get all the appropriate buffs. Now, these guys do normal damage. She does 3 attacks if she's in melee range, if she has enough AP, and they take AP away. So it's kind of nasty, especially if she crits. That's what I've seen from her. She also has a nasty ranged attack. So, let's head over here for a rip armor. Ah. Come on, Shan. I give you permission to hit the big beastie. There we go. That's better. And a Celestial Mana Fist for good measure. As you can see, they have quite a bit of life. They are tough. So let's get ISO over here. And ISO's going to start doing fire on this gibbering nightmare who is out and about. 15, that'll do. How about a deadly shot? Cool. Now, Duncan's going to join her because their ranges seem to be somewhat similar. Oh, I spoke too soon. Now here's Quinn Yah. See, there's her. She just did a ranged attack and a melee attack. Fortunately, ISO was able to dodge a lot of it. And she's going to go find a shady spot. Now here's the Keymaster and Gatekeeper. Okay, he had an AoE ranged attack. That's the first time I've seen it. Let's do a rip armor. -2 AP. That's good. Now all we do is just try and punch the crap out of this guy with our remaining action points. Awesome. Now, Gobbet, let's cast a heal on yourself. And we have some summons here. I think first off, we're going to summon Mr. Cheezers, the Devil Rat, for some assistance. And let's go ahead and do a bite. And we can start damage on this guy, allegedly. Now, ISO. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. So he's dead. Let's do full auto fire, range long. We might actually have to put, well, let's light up. That's 24 to the brute, or to the fanged behemoth. Let's go ahead and have Duncan head into long range. Fortunately, Shan's tankiness is holding out. 2 damage. He'll be dead by the next turn, if all goes well. And Mr. Cheezers blocks that attack. Alright, so far so good. Celestial Mana Fist. And down. Now we'll send Shan to go assist, taking out the Fanged Behemoth. Ah. Let's try Lightning Strike. And let's go ahead and use a stun. Get some CC going. Okay, Gobbet. Slide up here with your little SMG, your little pea shooter. ISO may be able to take him out. Nice. Okay, so Quinn Yah is no longer healed by servitors. She doesn't have any more. So now we can focus on lighting her up. Provided we can actually hit her, of course. There we go. Now, Mr. Cheezers, I want you to try Venom Splash. I want to try and dot her up. Because that's just, all that adds up over time. Now, I actually think that her AP was based on how many of her minions she had around her. You see, she just moved that one. I'm not sure if I'm willing to test that theory, so let's just focus on beating her down. Well, come on, Shan. It's not exactly like she's, you know, hard to hit. There we are. She's got a lot of armor, as you can see. Oh, 22 crit. Nice. Gobbet. Let's actually... No, we still can't heal. Go ahead and heal up ISO. For 13. That a girl. This is like perfect range for her. ISO's probably one of our nastiest characters since we got her that combat upgrades. We missed those shots. We hit for 1, for 12. Alright, go forth, Mr. Cheezers. Sicker. I think she only had the 1. I think she only has 1 AP now. But let's not get too carried away. Keep our eyes on the prize. And do I have anything? No, let's go ahead and get our Mystic Armor back up, just in case. And hit once again. Gobbet back here. And I think everyone else is pretty good on their damage. Yeah, no one else has taken damage to my knowledge, so let's actually increase Duncan's aim. Now with ISO, we're going to use an ability that we haven't used before. We're going to use Mark Target 3.0. Oh, line of sight's blocked. Can I even shoot her? No, I can't. Well, how about here? Line of sight still blocked? Alright, well, we'll just move right over here. Duncan, come on, man. There we go. Saw some blood. She's in the red. She's not in mercy kill range yet. But what kind of story can Duncan tell people then? She doesn't really deserve a whole lot of mercy, though. Let's see if Shan can get the kill. Our favorite monk. All we got is melee. Or, normal punches. 10? Gobbet, you still have haste, right? How about you do that again? And we'll cast aim on you just to be sure. 16. Oh, wow. Alright, well, ISO, you lived in the walled city for a long time. You saw what this thing did. You should go ahead and finish her off. Defeat Quinn Yah. See, that wasn't that hard of a fight, was it? As the Yama King's body crumples, a cackling sound fills the air. Once again, her broken body begins to knit itself back together. The flow of black ichor from her many wounds slows to a stop and reverses, the viscous fluid snaking its way back up into the holes and ruptures that it poured from. Projections on top of projections, all aspects of our divine being, shed as easily as a lizard sheds its tail. Her voice is ripe with mockery. You cannot harm us, meat, but you have amused us. Quinn Yah halts, her crowned head cocking to one side. Perhaps you are worthy of an audience after all. Perhaps. Her voice trails off and her head tilts upward. From behind you, you can hear the pounding sound of approaching footsteps. Now guess who shows up a little bit too late. Hi, guys. As he falls into position behind you, Gaichu raises his blade high. His milky eyes are locked on Quinn Yah, and there's a look of grim satisfaction on his face. Raymond Black steps forward, an expression of grim determination on his face. The Yama King still lives. He smiles through a mouthful of strong, sharp teeth. Good. I did this. I brought this creature here. He speaks in the grim tone of a man on his way to the gallows. His complexion has gone gray as ash. My fault. My responsibility. The Queen with 1,000 teeth cackles with glee. It has returned to us, the tunnel builder, the architect of my ascendancy. Ascendancy. The creature leans in toward Raymond, its spidery fingers weaving hypnotically. The thing's robes billow like the bell of a jellyfish, pulsing organically with the rhythm of a heartbeat. You will have a special place in our court, builder. You will stand by our side, exalted for all time, a living token of our unending rule, and an undying symbol of the folly of man. I have been a fool, yes. His hands clench into fists so tight that his knuckles go white. The skin on his face is flushed with the effort of fighting through the stammer jumbling his words. A great fool, but I will not be your slave. I will stop you. The Queen with 1,000 teeth leans forward, her movements full of alien grace. The gaping crescent of her mouth parts into a ghastly smile, and you can see row upon row of fangs. They run down her throat in overlapping layers, a bristling forest of glistening, sharpened enamel, kind of like a sarlacc pit. Now, trying to remember what options I chose. Leave him alone. You were talking to me, remember? She steeples her fingers. Their hardened tips click against one another with a sound like grinding teeth. You are bold, meat, but you are also correct. We do not break our promises, and you have earned some modicum of respect. Quinn Yah turns her full attention back to you, and the smile widens. You can feel it, deep in your gut. It tunnels into you like a lamprey, leaves you feeling empty and cold. In truth, you amuse us. Your persistence in the face of the inevitable is a pleasure to behold, and so we have decided to grant you a rare honor. We offer you a deal. Go on, then. I'm listening. Our terms are simple. We want you to leave. Leave the chattel here to their fates. Forget about them. Acknowledge that they are ours, and then think on them no more. She gestures toward the door that you came in from. Leave the walled city now, and do not return, except that it is our domain, now and forevermore. In exchange, we will grant you 14 years of good fortune, your every wish fulfilled, your every desire granted, a charmed life from the moment you leave to the day that our deal elapses. You can do that? The Yama King cackles. With a wave of our hand. We have swum the waters of fortune since the beginning of time. It is a trivial matter for us to divert them. So, will you accept our offer? Will you take the deal? Now, this is what I chose. Not yet. I have questions for you first. She inclines her head. You may ask, but do not try our patience. To trifle with us would be a terrible mistake. What do you intend to do with the people of the walled city if you take over here? You can't be planning to enslave them all. What any queen would do. We intend to rule them. Some will be pressed into service within our court. Others will be livestock. Most will live out their lives as if nothing had changed. Why don't I believe you? What you believe is not our concern, but know that our word is sacrosanct. Sacrosanct. We do not lie, meat. Not ever. The Yama King's arms weave organically, tracing mesmerizing patterns in the air. They glisten with thin, watery saliva. Strands of the fluid crisscross and entangle one another before splattering to the concrete floor. It is in our interest to leave most of the meat in the walled city alive and unmolested. They must serve as breeding stock to better ensure our continuing prosperity. The population of the walled city must increase. We will see this happen. We will make it happen. I'd like to know more about the spirits that serve you. Our servitors are not spirits, meat, not in the way that you think. They are cells of our body, particles of our own divine being, manifested in flesh to serve us. So you're saying that you and your servants are all parts of the same thing? There is no I. There are no servants. We are all that there is. So she's similar to the Borg. I've done some research on your kind. There are other Yama Kings, aren't there? Thousands, each unique in all the multiverse, each an inimitable form of life. You are one of many, meat, interchangeable with others of your kind. We and our brethren are solitary, sovereign beings, demigods among beasts of the field. If you're as powerful as you say you are, why are you offering me this deal? Because we want to see what you will do. The ultimate reward dangles above your head. You can pluck it like a peach if you wish. We are curious to see if you will. I don't think that's it at all. I think that I hurt you the last time we fought, and that you're stalling while you regain your strength. That might be true. Do you wish to test your theory, meat? Or will you accept our generous offer and enjoy every luxury of life for over a decade to come? Make your choice, and make it now. Now, we learned everything from Crafty and from stories with ISO about the people who were actually able to catch the Yama Kings in a deal that they could not back out of. So I chose no, but I have a counter-proposal for you. Duncan's brow furrows. He looks surprised and uneasy. His grip tightens on his rifle. Quinn Yah leans in towards you, her face folding open into a hideous smile. A counter-proposal, you say? How amusing. Out with it then, meat. Tell us what you would have of us. You're going to return to the place that you came from, and you're going to close the door behind you. She cackles, a long, malicious laugh. And tell us, slave thing, why would we do such a thing? What do you have to offer? And this is where Crafty's knowledge, Crafty's mother's knowledge came in. Your life. I know how to tear open the tunnel that connects our two worlds. There's a long pause. A low growl emanates from the Yama King's throat. You would destroy yourself, meat. Condemn every living soul in this city to torment unending. Gobbet raises an eyebrow. Seattle? The Queen with 1,000 teeth tilts her eyeless head, glowering at you. Her voice goes low and dangerous. Your ultimatum is meaningless, meat. Opening the tunnel would not destroy us. It wouldn't even hurt us. You will take our offer, or you will die. There is no other choice. I know that opening the tunnel wouldn't hurt you, Queen, but I also know that it would let the other Yama Kings through. The Yama King doesn't respond, not audibly, but I don't know what that word is, that fills the air seems to thicken. It grabs you by the guts and twists. Iso grinds her teeth. It's got her too. Her eyes flash daggers at you. Why the hell would we want to do that? Because she's been keeping them out. She wants the walled city for herself, and that's why we haven't seen any of the other Yama Kings, because she's basically been keeping all of this to her for herself to enjoy. And we will have it. Quinn Yah's voice raises to a shivering roar. This place is ours. Leave now or be destroyed. If it were that easy, you'd done it already. Quinn Yah stands statue still, looming over you like a colossus. Saliva drools down from the ridges and folds of her body. The waves of hate rolling off of her are almost palpable. I've heard what you Yama Kings do to one another when you're angry. The story of the Nameless King? I'm betting that there's some truth to it. A low rumbling sound emanates from Quinn Yah's chest. Her melody voice goes sour. You would be condemning yourself to an eternity of torment. My brethren would not permit you to leave this place alive. You're going to have to destroy me anyway, right? So what do I have to lose? He's right. From our perspective, there isn't much difference between one demon god ruling the walled city and 100. The place is doomed either way. I believe that I have made a decision, and if he doesn't go through with this, I will. There's steel in his voice, the kind that you haven't heard since the old days, before prison, before you left home. Go back where you came from, creature. Do this, or I will open choke on the machine, and you can die with us. There's a long pause. Quinn Yah cocks her head, coldly evaluating you. A low rumble escapes from her throat. And what of our court? The slave things that have already been taken into our service. We must be allowed to keep them. If we are to retreat into the tunnel, they must come as well. And this is where we have her. You're entitled to nothing. By asking, you've already conceded defeat. I know your laws, Queen, and I will hold you to them. A low rumbling fills the chamber. Quinn Yah's hideous face contorts into a mask of rage, but she seems incapable of moving to harm you. The servitor creatures that surround her kneel in acquiescence. They look confused and frightened. How do you know? The music in her voice has gone flat. Yeah, we'll call that flat. You watch the muscles of her throat bulge, but the sound barely escapes her. Now, we can go ahead and let her know that it was Crafty's mother, but I enjoy mocking her. You'll spend the rest of eternity wondering. Slowly, gratingly, the Queen with 1,000 teeth bows her head. Her jaw is clenched, and her breath comes in ragged gasps. We shall go back into the tunnel, as agreed. We will leave the slave things behind. We are bound to obey. Holy dreck, Caleb. It worked. Moving against her will, Quinn Yah traces ornate sigil into the air. It hangs there for a moment, shimmering. Then the sky tears open.
Remember the day I told you went talking off the streets? I told you that the past is just a story. That if you can just accept that, your past loses all power over you. But we do what we need to do.
And there's the 3.
To live with ourselves.
And there's the fortune engine actually reacting. And bye-bye now. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Either way, it's over now. I have you to thank for that.
And that's when I realized I'd been doing Raymond's voice wrong. Whoops. I hope you guys had enjoyed it, though. That it was decent for the character. And there it goes. Now, in terms of boss fights, as I said before, that wasn't particularly hard, but it was fun. It was a very different thing to fight. That actually reminded me of Fürchtel, like fighting the demon, Glory's demon in Dragonfall Director's Cut. I like that a lot. Aftermath. You lead Raymond out of the Prosperity Chamber and are instantly caught up in a wave of refugees fleeing for their lives. Struggling through the panicked wave of humanity, you are able to retrace your steps and eventually reach Hoi. Although the typhoon has passed, the scene is wet and chaotic. The newly homeless crowd the streets, dazedly wandering, searching for missing loved ones and nursing injuries. Relief workers are already on the scene, providing blankets and medical aid. Rescue personnel carry the stunned and wounded to safety. The entire area has been quartered off by HKPF while knight-errant officers and a military peacekeeping force attempt to maintain order, which is not good for us because we're on the hit lists of all three of those institutions. So now we're going to be heading back to Hoi, and I believe there is a dialogue scene real quick to kind of let you know, because you think with all the stuff going on in Kowloon, there's no way that it could be hidden, that it could be covered up. And that leads into one of the main dystopian themes of Shadowrun, especially with all of these megacorps being able to control information and how people think. You emerge from Kowloon walled city to bustling clusters of activity. Refugees huddling together, staring back at their lost homes. Government troops deploying from armored personnel carriers. News vans setting up remote camera feeds while reporters scramble to find the right angle for their broadcasts. The air is electric with the threat of potential violence as panicked peacekeepers eye the growing crowd of evacuating poor. Gobbet's eyes dart furtively as she turtles her head between her shoulders. This place is hot. The cops are swarming the place and that APB is still out on us. Just take it easy. Try to blend in with the crowd. I want to have a look around. Not the best time for sightseeing, Shan. The place is crawling with badges. Iso lifts her nose toward a reporter interviewing someone from inside the walled city. Looks like we get to see a show, though. The reporter already has his hooks in someone, hoping for a soundbite. The reporter wears a look of earnest concern like a coat of cheap deodorant. And is that when you started running? Yeah, it was bad in there. Shooting, screaming. I was terrified. And what caused this, sir? Why are people flooding out of the walled city, injured and disoriented? The man stares at the scene around him, bewildered. It's like everyone is saying, some sort of chemical leak. A drug lab exploded or something, caused mass hallucinations. The reporter turns to the camera and pretends to check his notes. And there you have it, Sonny. Our third report of mass hallucinations and violence caused by an explosion in an illegal drug lab. And while reports remain sketchy, it appears that street crime is again on the rise. He half turns and sweeps his arm over the scene. As you can see, it's still turmoil and confusion here as police and executive council peacekeepers respond to the emergency situation, attempting to maintain order. But in all this chaos, in the maze of poverty that is Kowloon Walled City, we may never know what really happened in there. Back to you in the studio, Sonny. The light on the news camera goes off and the reporter drops his facade. He ignores the bedraggled man beside him and begins packing up his equipment. After a moment, he sees you looking at him and turns to you with a scowl. What are you looking at? Yeah, that was no illegal drug spill. I'm shocked. He laughs sarcastically and continues packing. Of course there was no illegal drug spill. Of course it's a line of corp crap. Everything you see, everything you've been taught, every official you elect, they're all bought and paid for by the people pulling the strings. Yeah, well, no one's telling me what to think. No eye contact. He remains bent over his equipment case. Of course not, pal. You're different. The reporter finishes packing and stands up straight, brushing the wet grit of the street off his hands. As he does so, his eyes narrow. His gaze moves over your crew, flicking from face to face before eventually landing on you. Looks like you just came from inside. So tell me, what did you really see in there? A mess that Josephine Sang never cleaned up. He chuckles. Why am I not surprised? No one even remembers that she built this hole in the first place. Not that it would matter. Jo Sang holds this town by the balls. It wouldn't surprise me if she was running some kind of test in the walled city. It's like their own little petri dish. He snorts. Wouldn't surprise me if the whole thing blew up in her face because of low safety standards either. They test food additives, body modifications, pharmaceuticals, whatever some junior executive can dream up. Nothing surprises me anymore. What about the truth? The truth isn't my business. Ad revenue is my business. Do you have any idea how much competition there is for eyeballs these days? News is nothing more than content, just like the new Mammy Canyon Flesh BTL, Urban Brawl broadcast, or Maria Mercurial SimSense experience. And to tell you guys the truth, that is very true. I worked at a TV station, that is exactly how it is. They need advertisers, otherwise they don't stay in business. Everyone on this island knows that my news service is just a mouthpiece for the Executive Council. Hell, if you look close enough, you'll probably find that it's owned by a member of the Executive Council. People buy what we feed them because the world is changing, and it's scary. They feel small. They need scapegoats to blame and authority figures to tell them what to think. My news network gives them that. He points at the TRID screen mounted on the side of his news van. And there's a prime example of an authority figure. Jo Sang, rising star on the Executive Council. Just look at her spinning this to her own ends, talking about the humanitarian relief effort she's mouthing. You know, your comm chirps. It's kindly Chang. Go ahead and take your comm. I'm going to go before this scene turns into some kind of riot. Usually does. This is Shan. I lost contact with the soldiers I sent into the walled city with you, and now these Sang pricks and government troops are all over the place. Get over here and tell me what the hell happened. What about the cops? There's still an APB out on us. Some mysterious benefactor lifted the APB on you. You can hear her suck on a little black cigar. We'll talk more when you get here. The comm clicks off. Iso tugs at your arm, her eyelids at half-mast. I want to sleep. For about a year. I'm taking Raymond to the bolt hole, Caleb. I think he could use some sack time, too. We'll see you there. You better go talk to Auntie Seattle. And off they go. Now, this is where I ended the episode originally, because looking around, we can actually talk to all the vendors and all the people in Club 88, and we can get some final thoughts and plot lines on what's going to happen to all these people. And we will take care of it next time, guys, in the final episode. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to go ahead and leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you for the final episode. Later days, everyone.